Before I hand over the session to our Rashmi ma'am, a little insight on Sunderji's Global Academia. Founded in 1996, we started with an inclusive kindergarten, which led to the inception of our Teachers Training Institute. A couple of years down, we launched our Early Intervention Center, along with our special school, and finally, our inclusive CBSE High School. All institutes branches are scattered across Pune and Bangladesh. To know more about our institutes, the relevant links are shared on the chat box. Do follow us on social media to stay on the SGF pulse. Moving on to our speaker of the day. Full of patience, Rashmi Shah is the inclusion head for SGA and Suyog Sunderji Institutes. A fantastic and passionate special educator, she received her B.Ed from SNDT, as well as reached the Yomogi level in special education in Chennai. Fun fact, she also received a diploma in landscaping from Ferguson College. After 20 years as a special educator, her knowledge is unparalleled, and along the years, she has conducted numerous workshops on ADHD, ASD, LD, and today as well, the classroom management and positive disciplinary. Now, I would like to invite Rashmi Shah to start her interesting webinar. Rashmi Shah, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Batul, for a lovely introduction. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on classroom management and positive disciplinary techniques. So, along with me today, I have my friend, that's Ronit. So, Ronit is my friend who is going to be accompanying me for today's webinar on classroom management. And you all know why is this Ronit with me? So Ronit, he is going to take us to a tour explaining that what his teacher uses, which are the techniques, different strategies that Ronit's teacher uses in a classroom to manage us. Because we know what Ronit says. Oh, you all know that we are a bunch of the most naughtiest children in the classroom. We are a bag of mixed abilities and we make a lot of fun. We hang around in the class, we disturb the class, and yes, in the class, there are some students who are really very attentive and listen to our teachers. So, but we've got wonderful teachers in our school, and that's why I'm going to share with you what my teacher, all the number of teachers in my school use different techniques to manage us, and we really love our school and we love our teachers. Why? Why we love our teachers? That is what I want to show you, explain you and tell you that why do we love our school and why do we love our teachers. Okay, so are we ready to listen to me? If you all are ready, can you all please show me a thumbs up? Yes, thank you, us, Aisha ma'am. Thank you, Rashmi ma'am. Thank you, Tanya ma'am. Thank you, Purva ma'am. Thank you, Purva. Thank you, Snehal. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Reshma. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. So we'll start off with the session, but I'll come back after some time. Okay. Okay, thank you, participant. Okay, so let's get into today's presentation of classroom management and positive behavior techniques. Okay, so classroom management and positive behavior techniques. So, what is classroom management? Why is it important? It's a set of expectations. It makes the efficient use of time, consistency, and decrease in behavior problems. So that is why we had Ronit with us, and Ronit was saying that he loves his school and he loves his teacher. Strategies that the teacher is using, the way she's taking up a classroom, it is helping them help the students to create a set of expectations. There is efficient use of time made by the teacher and by the students. The students' behaviors, the difficult or challenging behaviors are decreased. It leads to effective teaching and a lot of consistency in the teaching learning process. Now, what do I mean by creates set of expectations? So, create set of expectations means that the children will know the expectations in different types of learning situations. Now, example, I would share an example with this. So, when a kid would know what and when work, like the kids will know that what the children have to do in a small group setting or in a large group setting. So when the teacher has assigned them, has divided them into small groups, okay, and then there are certain expectations laid by the teacher that in this group you all have to complete this piece of puzzle. So in a group of 4, you all have to complete this piece of puzzle. Another group, maybe the teacher has assigned a job that this is a chart paper and you have to make a beautiful collage out of the given things, the things which are given to the children in that small group. Okay. Another group, maybe the teacher has given them few things like for an explorative play. Okay. The teacher must have given them different things out of which they have to explore and make something out of it. So when a teacher is dividing the children into small groups and then telling them that okay, you all have to complete this puzzle in next 5 minutes, you all have to complete this collage in the next 10 minutes, and you all have to complete this, you have to make a creative piece of art within next 10 minutes. So when the teacher is going to give clear and targeted instructions, proper instructions in a stepwise manner, then the children know that okay, what are our goals to be achieved. So a kid would know what that when working in small groups, they talk in quiet voices, they take turns while talking, they might each have a specific job within the group. So when the teacher is giving them or dividing them in the group, they know that in the same classroom there are 2 other or 3 other groups who are also working. So when they have to talk very, very quietly. And there is a target that you have to complete your job. This group has to complete a job in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. It creates a set of expectations. Now, what does this mean? A classroom management strategies help create an organized classroom environment, that's conducive in teaching. So again, let's go back to the example that where a teacher has divided the whole class into 3 to 4 groups. Okay. So the teacher is getting all the jobs organized. When she is dividing the class into different groups, she has organized those jobs and she has given targeted instructions to those children. So that set of children who are in group A, they know, okay, we have to complete this puzzle. Now, when they have to complete this puzzle, they know that they have to just concentrate on the puzzle and they have to complete the task. Now, when these tasks are given and the time limits are given to these children, what happens is there is an internal healthy competition that is also developed within a class itself. So each group knows that if we complete a task, then maybe there is some kind of a reinforcer that the teacher is going to use it. And that is how they are also going to be motivated. So they themselves in a group, they learn how to organize themselves. So when they are in a small group of 4 and 5, maybe from that group, one becomes the leader, then 2 are After the leader, there are two children who are going to lead the leader, and there are next three children who are the next ones who are looking into the job that needs to be completed. Now, when the job is divided in a classroom for these activities also, there is a starting point and the end point also, which is explained by the teacher. Like example, after completing the task, okay, suppose they are making a creative piece of art or they are making something very creative. So what is the end product? They have to keep it on the side and they have to wind up the class also. Their class or the area where they were working in. So ultimately, this is going to help them to become more and more organized. Efficient use of time. What does this mean? When the children know what to do, it becomes a natural part of the routine. After a few weeks, you don't need to tell them what to do. So when a teacher itself is organized, okay, and she's setting the limitations and targets for the children, then this routine becomes a natural part. It becomes consciously, the children become so structured that they know how to organize their task and complete their task. But this will happen only when a teacher is organized. If the teacher is organized, if the plans are ready, the teacher knows that, okay, what is my plan for the next day when I'm going to take up a class? What are the required things that the children need to bring in? What are the things that the children need to keep it ready before the class? If she is very, very clear in giving her instructions to the children, definitely that is going to be taken forward, and that is how the children are also going to get organized. Now let's imagine, like, I'll give you an example where a teacher walks in a class and she says, okay children, tomorrow we have to go for a picnic and you have to bring your snack box and a water bottle and a cap, and uh, just bring one napkin, and tomorrow we are going for a picnic. Okay, this is the only set of instructions that a teacher is going to give in the classroom, and she just walks away. And maybe when she is giving these instructions, she is giving these instructions of going for a picnic towards the end of the day. Now when it comes towards the end of the day, the class, the children are already in a state of mind that when do we leave the class and run back home. So they are already, their mindset is already in such a position that 50%, what, 60 to 70% of the children in the classroom are actually not listening, they are not attentive, and the teacher at that time is just giving instruction that tomorrow we are going to go for a picnic, bring a cab, bring a snack box, bring a water bottle, bring your sack, bring one napkin, and tomorrow we are going for a picnic. But instead of that, you know what? How Ronit's teacher gives instructions, most important instructions. Okay, so Ronit is going to tell us how Ronit's teacher gives instructions in the classroom. Hey friends, you know what? My teacher, how does she give instructions? Hello, come on everyone, let's clap our hands. All ears wide open. Eyes wide open. Pull up your ears. All eyes towards the teacher. Are we listening? I'm going to give you some great news. You know what? Tomorrow we are going for a picnic. Wow! We are going to go for a picnic to see. We are going to go to a fish aquarium. And we are going to see lovely fishes over there. But now, you all know, when we go for a picnic, there are 5 most important things that we need to carry. Are we listening? Yes or no? Do you all want to come with me for the picnic tomorrow? Dear friends, do you all want to come with me for a picnic
Yes.
tomorrow?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes,
thank you,
ma'am.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I can hear the yes now. That makes me very, very happy. So now for the picnic, you know what? You have to bring, first you have to wear your uniform. What are you going to wear? Come on, can someone repeat? What are we going to wear?
Our uniform.
Yes.
For a
Uniform.
picnic.
You have to carry your ID card. Okay? So you have to wear your uniform. You have to carry your ID card. You have to carry two snack boxes, one water bottle, and a cap. Okay? Now let's repeat. Uniform, ID card, two snack boxes, one water bottle, and a cap. Okay, these are the five most important things that we need to carry for a picnic. We are going to leave the school tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we are going to come back by 4 o'clock in the evening. So, are you all ready to come with me tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay, can someone tell me which are the five most important things that we need to carry?
Yes, ma'am. We need to come in our school uniform, our ID cards. We need to carry in two tiffins, a water bottle, and a
Cap.
A cap. Ah,
yes, ma'am.
okay,
Sorry.
okay. You need to drink some water. Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, can someone tell me what time are we going to leave in the morning and come back in the evening?
8 a.m. in the morning and 4 p.m. Morning 8 o'clock and come back
Yes,
4 o'clock
yes.
evening.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, friends. I would really love if you all are really interacting with me. If you don't talk to me, then I become sad. So, wherever I come in, please, will you all please speak to me? If you speak to me, if you interact, then I'm really happy. And if you don't talk to me, then I become sad. Okay, thank you. So, that is how the teacher needs to be organized, and then the children, all for children also, it becomes a natural part, as it becomes a routine for them to be very very attentive. One more example: the student knows that they have to put away the toys and get ready for lunchtime when the bell rings. So this is how the expectations are set in by the teacher. As I mentioned earlier, starting and ending is very very important. So when a teacher or a facilitator is laying the targets and the expectations very very clear with the children in the classroom, she will have to remind them maybe one time, two times, three times, using various strategies, which I'm going to share a little later in the part of the presentation. But when that consistency is brought in by the teacher, okay, that the consistency that, okay, today I will remind the children that you have to put away your toys back, you have to close your lunch box, you have to hang your bag in the balcony, or you have to keep your water bottles on the shelf. The teacher will tell them today, but after that, if there is no consistency brought in by the teacher, okay, then the children are not going to get organized. So consistency is also very very important. So this is all about consistency. The kids know what to expect every day, and when it comes to the routine activities, a teacher with a strong classroom management skills creates consistency for his student. So consistency means that if you are starting a particular strategy, or if you're using a particular strategy in a classroom to improve the efficiency of the children, or to have better time management or better response of the children, then it needs to be used consistently by the teacher. It cannot happen that today she is using a particular strategy and then she is forgetting about it, and then she is going to use it after about 15 days. The children are not going to get organized, nor will we achieve like desirable behaviors that we are looking for. We won't be able to help our children to lead towards the desirable behaviors. So if the kids know that they are supposed to enter the room and hang their bags on the stand and keep their water bottles on the table, there will be less chaos as the children enter the class in the morning. So this is what, like, every day, if the teacher follows a particular strategy or a rule every day for at least about a week or 15 days, then it becomes a habit, it becomes a routine for the child. After those 8-10 days, the teacher will not have to remind them to get organized or to keep their lunch bags, hang their bags, or keep their water bottles on the table. It will become the system, they will become so systematic and structured that automatically they'll be following the rules that are laid in a class. And this, it will not be seen only in a classroom environment, but even the parents will start observing this at home, because once structure is set for them, then it automatically, the children are going to follow it at home also. Yes, you need to make parents equal partners, because the parents also need to know that what are the rules and regulations that you are following in a classroom, at least to help the children to get organized in their daily living skills. So that can be shared with the parents, and that ultimately is going to help the parents at home also, so that the children are better organized. Now, classroom management techniques, it decreases the behavior problem. So all the challenging behaviors that we see in a classroom, because friends, nowadays, like earlier the time was different, but now we have a classroom which is a mixed ability classroom. Now what do I mean by mixed ability classroom? There are certain children who are average learners, there are certain children who are visual learners, certain children who are kinesthetic learners or auditory learners. There may be one or two children who are with learning challenges. There may be one or two children who may be ADHD, that is having attention deficit hyperactive disorder. There are certain children who may be at a borderline IQ, like kind of a slow learner, and some children who are highly intellectual. Those are the gifted children. So most of the classroom in today's scenario, they are of a mixed ability classroom. So when it comes to mixed ability classroom, and again these children are from various different environment also. So keeping all these things in mind, it's very, very important that we use effective management, classroom management strategies in a class. Now, these effective classroom management gives the student a little time to, sorry, this misbehave is wrong. It will help a child, students to become uh, behave well in the classroom. Sorry, there is a mistake. It's written misbehave, but it's behave well. Because the expectations are clearly explained, the students know what they need to know. Now, to know more about, how a behavior can be managed, as we go down, as we go further for the presentation, there are a number of strategies that I'm going to share with you all. There are classroom rules, there are job monitors, there are calming down techniques, there are movement breaks, which are we going to talk about it. So these strategies are going to help to manage your class and bring down the challenging behaviors of the students in a class. Now, a challenging behavior may not be only with students who are having learning difficulties or who are ADHD. Challenging behavior can be with anyone. Now, what do I mean by challenging behavior? A challenging behavior is a behavior that is going to hamper, any kind of behavior that is going to hamper the child or the environment around. That, if that kind of behavior is going to hamper the environment, then it is a challenging behavior. So when proper classroom rules are laid down, when the expectations are clearly mentioned by the teacher or the teachers in the classroom, it brings down the challenging behaviors of the children and a classroom in all. Now, what does a classroom management include? So, a classroom management includes routines, classroom rules, consequences, and token system. So now we start with the strategies that we use for a effective classroom management and for disciplinary techniques. So what are the different things that we use in a classroom? So routines, classroom rules, consequences and token systems. Now, what are routines? Now, routines are the backbone of a classroom life, makes it easier for students to learn and achieve more. Predictable patterns give teacher more time for meaningful interaction. Now, when these routines or when the rules are set in a classroom, in a general term, in a very simple language like the classroom rules or the golden rules of the classroom, those are the backbone of a classroom. So when these rules, golden rules or the classroom rules are laid down by a teacher and explained it to them and followed, and if there is a consistency which is used by the teacher, then it becomes a very, very effective classroom. It makes easier for students to learn and achieve more, because when classroom rules are laid down, when these strategies are used, the teaching learning process becomes much more easier, and there is less wastage of time. There is better organization of time management, is um, goes in a better way, and a lot of learning is happening along with a lot of, not only teaching learning is happening, but so many other things, the holistic development of a child or overall as a group takes place. Predictable patterns give teacher more time for meaningful interaction. So when a teacher is organized and is going to use proper patterns in the teaching learning process, what happens is that the time that is set. Now, example, now if a teacher has targeted that within the next 30 minutes, I have to explain a part of the chapter about the solar system. Okay, when a teacher is organized, okay, and when the teacher has laid down the rules that, okay, now you'll have to listen to me carefully. I'm going to show you a number of things to explain you about the solar system. But when I'm explaining, I expect y'all to please don't talk. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands, okay? And afterwards, when we get into the activity, we are going to have a discussion time also. So in this way, when a teacher is going to explain, explain in the sense setting, what do we mean to say? Um, the teacher is beforehand, intimating or, making the children aware that, okay, what are we going to do next? The children are prepared what is going to happen next, and they know what are the expectations of the teacher, and accordingly the activity or the lesson is taken forward. So what are the different essential activities that happens in a classroom? So beginning of the day, entering and exiting the classroom, papers, when the papers, during the exam time, when the papers are giving, sharpening of the pencils, collecting and handing out the papers, leaving the classroom for a bathroom. These are the different essential activities in general. I've just given a glimpse of it, which happens in a day-to-day scenario in a classroom environment. So when these day-to-day activities are happening in a classroom, the teacher needs to set proper classroom routines. Now, to set these classroom routines, what can be done? We can use up a number of charts or placards in a classroom, that when we start every morning, champs is the mnemonic which is used. So coats and backpacks hang up, homework turn in, all notes on teacher's desk, make the lunch choice, pencils need to be sharpened, and start the morning work. So like these are simple classroom routines or classroom rules that can be laid in a classroom, and these pieces cannot be that they are just put up on a soft board or something. It doesn't make sense that if you are going to take printouts or if you are just going to make such charts as classroom rules and just put it up on the soft board, and if you're not going to review them, then it is just a piece of decoration in a classroom. Okay, so the purpose of it needs to be achieved. How will we achieve the purpose? How will you achieve your goals for simple classroom routines? Only when you are going back and forth, when you are looking into the classroom rules again, you are seeing that whether the children are following it or no. And if there is I'm again and again repeating, if there is consistency brought in by the teacher, then only we are going to lead to a better classroom environment. So such routines like lining up routines also, stand up quietly, push your chair, walk in a line. Like when children have to go out for maybe they have to go out for their physical fitness class or for a music class or for some ground activity. What happens? There is a chaos in the classroom, right? Then the children are just pushing their tables and chairs and they're just running up. But before that, if the teacher is going to say, okay, now it's time to go for your music class. But when we are going for a music class, what are we going to follow? So instead of she showing, like talking about the rules, she can just show this placard of lining up. Okay, so what are the rules that need to be followed for lining up? She, instead of just going on talking, she can just hold this card of stand up quietly, push your chair, and walk a line. So like this in a class, we though I don't have a lineup chart, but we have so many charts or flashcards which we use in our classroom for classroom rules. Like this is a choice board. So like suppose for younger children, okay, if you want to give them a choice, okay, of an activity, so there are about, one minute, just give me a second. Okay, now suppose if it is the end of the, suppose if I hope you all can see this chart along with the presentation participants. Can you see this flashcard?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. So, for classroom rules, what I mean to say is that it should not be just laid up on a soft board and it becomes a piece of art. But these charts or classroom rules, um, it should be very easy and handy to use. Okay, and you should revise them and bring it to the notice of the children again and again. Now a simple thing like this of a choice board, we give this to the younger children, or it can be used for the elder children also. Suppose the whole day has passed where it has been a very very effective day and a lot of teaching learning or the chalk and talk method has happened and the children have really responded well. Mostly all of the children have responded well and a lot of teaching learning has happened. Now you just want to break the monotony of the class and bring some newness in the classroom and make it a little, an, and at least in half an hour, which is a little light for the children so that they relax also. So you can have a choice board like kind of this, and this choice board states that, okay, do you all want to have music time? Do you all want to have game? Or do you all want to go in for sand play? And again, the rule is going to be majority wins. So instead of having two choices, instead of having three choices, we can have two choices so that there is less chaos in a classroom. So okay, children, so today you all have really done a lot of teaching and learning. You all have written so many in almost three subjects. You have done a lot of writing. Okay, now it's time for a little free time. But in this free time, I give you a choice. Do we have a time for games or do we have sand play? Come on, tell me. Who all want to have sand play in the class? Raise your hands. Who all want it to be a games time? Raise your hand. And again, it can go up majority wins. Suppose you don't want to have it as majority wins, you can divide the classroom. So the ones who want to go for sand play, they can go for sand play. The ones who want to go for games class, they can go for games class. The next thing is of a visual schedule. So though further also there are slides. So there are visual schedules like these which we can use up, Okay, so this is, so there are visual schedules, though these are the smaller versions which I'm showing you. But in our school, we have big cards for our visual schedules where the font and the card is big enough. So, like these, there are schedules that are placed in each and every classroom. So, the expectations the child knows, apart from that simple age old method of a timetable kind of a chart in a classroom. Like usually we have grown up where there is a black and white chart of a timetable put up in the class. So history class, maths class, um, uh, break time, Hindi class and English class, like that, where a simple timetable is put up. Now, instead of having a simple timetable chart put up, we can have it our expectations of the day, like what a child is expected to, or the schedule of the day put up in different various creative ways, like putting up visual schedules, which you all can see in the on the screen, like welcome, then there is an activity time, then there is circle time, and there is center time. So for higher grades, we can have the subjects put in with a little newness into it. Now, what are classroom rules? So classroom rules emphasize the action, sorry, they emphasize the action that I want rather than the action I don't want. Very, very important. So instead of saying that you don't have to shout, you don't have to, like certain classroom rules may say, don't shout in the classroom, don't yap, don't move around. Instead of that, emphasize on the actions that what is expected. So, like the lineup rule was there, stand up, stand up quietly, push your chair, stand in a line. So direct targeted instruction, what are the expectations of a teacher from the class. Use pictures along with rules so that the children remember the rules better. Very, very important. We need to know that most of our children, and in fact most of us, not only children, most of us, even as adults, we will remember better when there are pictures associated with it. Like though there are various category of learners, there are visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, but majority of the population, okay, majority of the population are they are visual learners. Okay, so when we see a picture along with a script or something, we will remember it better. So what are the examples? These are few rules, the charts which you can use, or as placards that you can use in a classroom, like the classroom posters, table rules, rug rules. Rug rules are basically when children, they are sitting down on the floor, okay, and doing a particular activity. Like especially for the tiny tots, in the foundation block in the pre primary classrooms, a lot of activities happen on the floor. So for floor time activities, there are rug rules. They call it as rug rules. So how you have to say is you have to face forward, eyes looking, ears listening, hands on the lap, and crisscross a pleasure. Yeah. Few more examples of charts or the placards or the flashcards of classroom rules. Okay. Now, before go ahead with the token system, can someone share with me what are the some basic classroom rules that are laid in the classroom, or what do you think of certain rules if they are laid in a classroom? It is going to be very effective and helpful for the teacher and the students. Yes.
Hi, this is Meenakshi.
Yes.
Actually, usually what happens, when the classroom, when something is in the time of distribution of notebooks or workbooks, okay, or else anything somewhat after immediately after completing a group activity like this, a lot of noises, the kids roam around, or they'll chit chat or they shout, then the classroom becomes will become a lot of mess, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
With the
Yes.
sounds, and they won't be in their place. Okay, all those things. At that time, we can use like simple technique, like it's like a small song like gilgili akka hoo hoo gilgili akka gilgili akka hoo hoo gilgili akka. If the teacher says this, anything we can inculcate anything like
Lovely.
these things. If the teacher starts saying that, it indicates that everybody have to be in their place and they have to join with that song by
Yes,
clapping.
lovely, lovely. Yes, that is a lovely example of a kind of a brain break or a movement break activity to
Yes,
grab the attention of the
attention.
children. Yes. So
Immediately within no time they'll be in their place.
yes, yes. So as ma'am was saying, like just bringing in some kind of music or to break the monotony so that you can grab the attention of the children. So that was right example. There are few participants who have shared in the chat box. Um, Raise your hands, wait for your turn in an online class, audio off when you are not asking a doubt or answering a question. Say your idea in a simple way. Okay, can I have some more classroom rules? What are some more classroom rules which we need to use it day in and out? Come on, participants.
Hello, can I say something?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm Hema. Yeah, generally, what is seen in the classrooms is during the break time when children have to use the washroom, and
Mm,
it is like maybe today if boys are going first, tomorrow girls will be going first. So this becomes a rule, and automatically children, we have seen children following that. So
yes,
when children, like say for example, boys are going, so all the boys will line up. They'll hold their hands, tuck their hands at the back, and they'll be walking. And the girls will be quietly waiting for their turns. Once the boys come, again the way they go, the same way they come back to the class. And when the boys are all done, then the girls go to the washroom. And next day, it is an unsaid rule. When girls will be making the line first, girls will go, attend the call and come back. And then the boys will go. So it's
okay.
like, maybe a week you don't tell them. And from the next week, children on their own, they follow.
Yes, yes, yes. So once that consistency is brought in, then I think we don't need to tell them. Like automatically they are going to, it's ingrained in them. Like what are the
Because
routine, what are the expectations, and they will automatically follow the rules. Yes. Thank you, Hema ma'am. That was a nice example. Yes. Okay, okay. So we go on to the next part of the presentation about the token system. Now, next we go on to the consequences or to the token system. Now, what is a token system? A token economy system is a way to reward a positive behavior. It works better when used with the entire class. The teacher provides a token, a play like it can be play money, coins, cards, etc. when a student is caught with a good behavior. So for a token system, like I have a jar like this, okay, so this becomes my token jar or the marble jar. So when a child or when a class we are expecting some positive behaviors from a particular child. So maybe there is an very hyperactive child in a classroom, and you are laying certain expectations from him that okay, after you finish your work, okay, after you finish your writing, what you are going to do is you are going to help your partner in the writing work, because maybe the partner is not very quick in writing and he needs some help, because maybe the partner is having difficulty from copying from the blackboard or something, and this child who is maybe an ADHD child or an hyperactive child or having challenging behaviors, he is or maybe he is very highly intellectual also, he's completing his work very fast. So after he finishes his work, what happens is that he starts disturbing the class. So as a teacher, as a facilitator, you want to bring down this child's challenging behavior. So what you are going to do is you are going to tell, okay, Ronit, I know you are very intelligent, you can write very quickly. So now today, after you finish your work, what you're going to do is you're going to help Pranay, who needs little help for writing. So for him, copying from the blackboard is difficult. So Ronit, you're going to help Pranay in dictating what he has to copy from the blackboard. And when he dictates and he's helping out the partner, he gets a token, he gets a marble, or he gets a bead, or a very nice attractive flower, and it goes in the jar. So this is how, when we achieve desirable behaviors, you go on giving these tokens to the child, okay, and then this becomes a reinforcer for the child. So this becomes the marble jar or the token jar for a child. This is for the desirable behaviors. Now, when these expectations of the desirable behaviors are laid, next, to go a little ahead with it, you also can explain the child for the undesirable behaviors. Suppose you are going to trouble the class, you are going to trouble your partner, or you are going to just hang around in the classroom, you lose one token. So you are going to lose one marble from your box. Okay, maybe you say them that you are going to lose this one beautiful flower from your jar, and you will have less number of flowers or marbles in the jar. So this is a token system. This helps for bringing in desirable behaviors in a class. So the basic token system cycle is the child has no tokens or no access to desirable items. Like I mentioned that there was an empty jar. The child engages in a desirable behavior or the targeted behaviors. Child is given a token for engaging these targets. So for getting, for every desirable behavior, he gets a token. He gets a bead, he gets a marble, he gets a flower, or he just can get a pom pom. Okay, so for every desirable behavior, he gains a token. A teacher trades their tokens for access to desirable items or activities. Now, what does this mean? So, you can tell the child, when this jar is full of beads and flowers, okay, now suppose the jar is full, okay, when your jar is full of these tokens, marbles, beads, flowers, whatever you want to name it, when it is full, okay, when this jar is full, you get half an hour extra time to play on the ground, or any such activity that the child loves to do. Maybe the child loves playing with manipulatives or Legos, or loves to do water play, or loves to play in the sand pit, or just loves to play on the playground. Okay, or maybe he loves the music class more, or he loves the physical fitness class or the dance movement therapy class more. So when so this is what we mean, that the child trades their tokens for access to desirable items or activities. So when his jar is full of these tokens, he gets half an hour extra time for whichever activity he likes during the day. Okay, so this is the basic system of a token system. The token system is very effective system. Yes, sometimes it becomes difficult to have this token system in a classroom where the number of children are more. Okay, it may get difficult, but now for that, what you can do is, instead of giving the tokens to each and every child, you can have groups made in the classroom, where as a group they need to gain these tokens. So at SGA we also use processes called as the UAA, wherein these processes are aimed for upbringing the overall classroom behavior. It does not cater to only one child or two children in a classroom, but overall, as a whole class, they need to come up in their behavior. So what happens that if two children know that what are the expected behaviors, and two children in the classroom, they are still not living up to the expectations of the expected behaviors, these other two children are pushing those other two, that come on, let's work together, let's behave well, let's misbehave less in the classroom, let's complete our targets faster. So overall as a class they get tokens. So there are certain processes like the UAA that we use at SGA for the overall classroom management. And then out of the, suppose there are two nursery classes, two lower KG classes, and two upper KG classes, then these tokens are given. So when one lower KG class is getting a token, like as a class whole gains a token, then the other class is also motivated. Oh wow, that class got a token, or they got some desirable activity time more. So in the other class, it is a kind of building up an healthy competition. It's not only a competition, but healthy competition between or amongst themselves to bring up each other and overall the classroom. So how does this work? So these token systems, it works like a positive reinforcement. So a behavior is there, like a certain challenging behavior is there. Now, when the certain behavior is there, what you want is not present before, and after using this positive reinforcement system, you get what you want is now present. Now example, um uh, suppose, like, let's go back to the example of a child who is highly intellectual and so called or maybe having red flag areas of ADHD. Now this child, when he finishes his work, completes his writing work, he is just moving around in the classroom or disturbing the others. Now what is happening? What is before the behavior? He is disturbing. This is the behavior, he is disturbing the class. So what you want is not present. You want that the child should remain calm, or he should not disturb the class. Now instead of telling Aryan, keep quiet, you have finished your work, sit in your place, don't disturb the others, don't disturb the others, instead of just telling him that don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you need to work out a strategy. So like a strategy like reinforcers, a strategy like he becomes the buddy for the partner. As I mentioned, that he becomes the buddy for the partner because he is going to help him out in his writing work. So when you are using these strategies, you get, the child reaches a behavior which is expected. Ultimately he is going to keep quiet, and he is also going to help the other child in the classroom. So what is helping in this? Positive reinforcement. So reinforcement in form of tokens, um, different cards, which I will just share the examples. There are different placards, reward cards, which you can use in a classroom to bring in the positive behavior. So this is positive behavior. So this is one more example of a token system, that I can do it. Okay, so these are simple cards where in each box, if he gets 5 stars, after he gets 5 stars, then I'm working for. So if he gets 5 stars, then maybe he gets 10 minutes extra to play in the sandpit. As I mentioned about the marble jar, similarly a card of token system. So a reward for your child is placed in the box. Your child behaves appropriately or finishes the task. Child receives a blue coin for their hard work. Your child uses the coins to open the box and gets their reward. So these are different ways of token system. You can also give them so many different types of these job cards. Excellent, good job, very creative, great improvement. So there are a number of creative ways which can be used as reinforcers to improve their behaviors and to motivate them for a better and better behavior. So instead of just giving a star in their notebook or giving a stamp in their notebook, yes, those also you can do it. Even a simple thing or a pat on a back, okay, a pat on his head that wow, good job, you are really doing well, a thumbs up, a high five. These are also very, very effective reinforcers which you can use in a classroom for all of them to keep on going and to be motivated for desirable behaviors. Some more examples of token system. So something like this, if they get so many stars, then they get free time. This is an example of, the jar, the marble jar. Add a marble to a jar each time the kids do something positive. When the jar is full, give them a reward. So different creative ways to have the marble jars. In the marble jar, you can have pom-poms, marbles, you can just have colored pebbles. You can have a Bravo chart. Have each table have each table color in a square on their Bravo chart. Every time they do something positive, 3 boxes in a row, and they earn a reward. So something like these beautiful Bravo cards or also can be used with these children to help them to come up in some desirable behavior. Fuzzy pom-poms, it similarly it goes in a marble jar. So every time, every desirable behavior, you can give them a reward in it, and after the jar is full, it leads to a fun-loving activity which they like. Brownie points, another technique of reinforcement. Keep the track of class brownie points by adding the brownies to the cookie sheet. So these are different creative sheets which you can prepare as the brownie points. So like a marble or like a pebble, these are brownie pictures of brownies which are put up on the chart. Now this can cater to not only a class to a child, but overall to a classroom also. So when they get, suppose they get 10 brownies, then they are going to get a reward. Love, you can give them compliment that you rock. Compliment one student each day on a frame, like you rock because um, because you have been an enthusiastic learner. You rock because you have been very, very interactive today. You rock because you have helped your partner in his writing job. So you can make these simple posters. Now, not necessary that we need to have high five frames or posters. You can just make simple cards out of waste papers or waste chart papers, and you just give it to the child as those reward cards. So which are four other useful tips for classroom management? Organize the rooms strategically. So organize your classrooms with help, ensure that effective learning is happening wherever the children are stationed. So example, if you have reading area, or you have blocks in the classroom, or you have some manipulatives in the classroom, then they need to be on the other side of the room, okay, apart from the place where they are going to do their reading and writing. Like suppose if there are tables and benches in the classroom which purely they are going to use for their reading writing skills, then the toys or the blocks or certain activities which are going to be taken up in a classroom, they need to be kept away in the other side of the room, so that basically the room or the things need to be organized very well in a classroom. All the teaching aids that are going to be used to take up a lesson, they need to be organized well. Okay. What else you can use is you can use an attention grabber. So what is an attention grabber? Okay. So bring in some novelty in between your classroom. You can bring an attention grabber. So Ronak becomes an attention grabber in the classroom. Just do a silly sound or a gesture to get the attention, says preschool teacher. Then I ask them to do what I do, say, or sing. I start I start out with big, silly, and sometimes loud movements or sounds that gradually get smaller and quieter. So this is something like an attention grabber the activity that I do. For attention grabber, you can also use some, those jingle bells in the classroom. Like as one of the participants mentioned, you just start singing something in a rhythmic way to get the attention. So along with that, you can just use simple bells in the classroom. Ask them to clap, ask them to snap their fingers, ask them to pull their ears, or you can just use any toy as an attention grabber. Wonderful strategy to just break the monotony, to grab the attention of the class and quickly get back into the task or whatever explanation you are taking in. So thank you participants for that participation. These are few more attention grabbers that you all can use. You can use, lollipops in the classroom. You can use these cards. You can use these simple, two-liner rhymes. One, two, three, four. Are my feet on the floor? Five, six, seven, eight. My chair is back. My chair is in. My back is straight. One, two, three, four. Are my feet on the floor? Five, six, seven, eight. My chair is in. My back is straight. So, like this, when you just bring in some rhythm, some tune within the classroom, you are just going to grab the attention of the children. So, these are certain cards or placards or puppets or stick figures that you can use in a classroom as attention grabbers. Next strategy is the transition time. So, what is the transition time? So, you need to make plans for transitions. Now, what does a transition mean? Transition means when the children have to go from one class to the other class. Like suppose from a maths class, now it's time that they need to go on the ground for the sports activity. So when they have to go, when this transition is happening, you need to plan it properly. It needs to happen in a very systematic manner and in a proper rules that the children need to follow. So when the children are transiting from one activity area of the room to another, it is important to have a plan for these transitions. Using a countdown as a part of your plan will help children get ready to move on when the time comes. Okay, so for this again you can use simple rhymes, bring in some music. Okay, you can use some cue cards. Okay. Apart from this, what you can do is now suppose it is time that it's the maths class or the science class, and children are copying down certain things from the blackboard. Now, when they are copying certain things from the blackboard, half of the children out of 20 or out of 25, there are about 10 to 12 children who have completed copying from the blackboard. There are about 8 to 10 children who still have to complete their work. At that time, what you can do is you bring in the buddy system. As few children who have completed their work, they will help out the other children to complete their work. So you are bringing in a buddy system, one very effective strategy for classroom management. Apart from that, now out of those 10, there are about 6 who have completed, and now there are 2 who still need to complete their work. So at that time you can just start counting. Okay, I'm going to count till 10. Maybe they have completed also, but you want the children to wind up. You want the children to keep their books, their pencil boxes, everything back in its place, maybe under the desk or in the bag before they go down for their PT class or the music class or the dance class. So what you can do is, okay, you will start counting. Okay, children, I am going to count 1 to 10 forward and backward. By that time, I expect you all to keep your books, your maths classwork, your maths textbook in your bag. Okay, and your pencils, erasers, sharpeners all need to go in the pencil box and keep it in your desk. So I'm going to count till 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this you go on. Okay. 10, T, E, N, comma, comma, full stop. Okay. When you are counting these counts, from 1 to 10 forward, backward, you are giving that 1 minute or 1.5 minute time for children to wind up. I know, I can understand sometimes it may be very difficult in a classroom of 30 and 40, but as a facilitator, as a teacher, if we are going to spend that 1.5 to 2 minutes before winding up the class, it's going to become a habit for that classroom. It's going to become a routine for those children that every class before moving out for a transition for the next class, they themselves will be counting in their mind, or you can have job monitors also. So when you are setting these routines, it is ultimately going to help for better behaviors for overall classroom. Now there are transition reminder cards. So there are such cards, which you can use it in a classroom as reminder cards, line up time, pack up time, toilet time. So these cards, instead of the facilitator or the teacher, calling out in the classroom, chalo, now it's time to go to the washroom, it's pack up time. How much is the teacher going to speak? How much the teacher, also facilitator, also needs some break, some breathing space. So to have that breathing space in a classroom, we can use these placards or these transition reminder cards. Just put up that card, the children know, looking at the picture, what are the expectations laid. Now instead of the teachers also using those cards, you can have job monitors. You can assign children as the job monitors for these transition reminder cards. So it can be given to the children who are finishing their work fast in a classroom. So instead of just saying it verbally, you can use these transition reminder cards. Now there are transition songs. Songs are one of the easiest ways to engage children and capture their attention almost every time. So trying using songs during your transition times becomes between the activities, before lunch or snack or before the end of the day. You may be amazed by the difference a catchy tune can make. Okay, this is a simple transition song, which you can use it, which you can sing along with the children when they are just going for a break. So instead of just telling them, children, you need to wash your hands properly with a soap, wipe your hands, and then take your lunch box. Instead of being that monotonous and that age old techniques, you just need to bring in some newness in your in your activity that will keep the children engaged and little more enthusiastic. Okay. Lovely. So this is, bringing in, transition songs in between, as I said, to break the monotony, to bring in little more interest in the classroom and to get all of them little more activated and leading towards a desired behavior. The next strategy is organization. So for getting children better organized, you can use child friendly labels. Empower your students to pick up after themselves and take responsibilities for their own messes. So in a classroom, after every activity, instead of you doing the whole job or the non-teaching staff doing the whole job, in fact we should just empower our students and help them get organized better and clear up the mess in the classroom. In fact, at our special school, we also do that, only not picking up the toys or the books or keeping things back. We also empower them or guide them, help them to clean the classroom. So, using a broom, just sweeping the classroom also just before they go home. So, this brings in a lot of sense of responsibility. The way you are going to take up things and empower them in school, similarly, they are going to behave at home also. Yes, there are at that time, we have also faced certain category of parents who say that why my child should use a broom and why should he sweep a classroom, because we have hundreds of maids that are home, we have hundreds of people who help us, and the child does not need to do anything. So at that time, as stakeholders, as facilitators, as teachers, you need to put down your expectations and your thoughts properly in a right way, in a good communicative way to the parents, that these are our expectations and we want our children to be independent in their daily living skills, and we want them to be growing up as responsible citizens, because you may have helpers at home to clear the room and clear up the mess at home, but each and everybody does not have. Plus, there is a sense of responsibility that needs to be inculcated in each and every child. So help them get organized better, in a better and better way. So you can tell them, guide them to clear up the mess in the classroom before they are leaving for home. Other ways of organization is label the bins with pictures of each objects, label the shelves where the bins are stored. Like these are the bins where you are having different teaching aids in a classroom or maybe in a storeroom. So you want the children to get organized and help you in your task after the teaching learning processes happen. Have these labels for different bins or different organizers in your classroom or in your storeroom, and make students as your equal partners. If you are going to make them as your equal partners, we are going to achieve a lot more to help them to get towards the desired behaviors. Another thing you can have in your classroom as a my lost bin or I am a lost bin. So everything that a child forgets in a classroom, you may be coming across with children, they forget their erasers, they forget their pencils, sharpeners, sweaters, or napkins in the classroom. So this becomes a I am the lost bin. So whatever is lost or whatever they forget in the classroom, it is kept in this bin or in the basket. And then afterwards, next day when the child comes, you are asking them to pick up the things that belongs to them, or you can give it during the PTA meetings. You can have this I am the lost bin kept outside in the PTA meeting so the parents can pick up the things which belongs to their child. So one more strategy to get better organized is you can have I am a lost bin in a classroom. Alternative active and passive activities. So you can have during the day needs to be planned in such a way that you are having a good balance of active and passive activities so that effective teaching learning is happening. Have kind of movement breaks in between. So like morning when the child is coming in, then afterwards you have the dance time, then you have the center time, you have a storytelling time, you have the gross motor activity, lunch time. Now this particular schedule which I'm sharing, it will cater to the maybe the foundation block children, where there are more of physical activities or more of activities that are happening, not much of reading writing is happening. But as you go further, you need to break up or divide the activities in such a way that after a teaching learning process has happened, or after a writing class has happened, have some kind of movement break, like maybe in the morning when you are having a maths class or science class, two very heavy topics that need to be taken, and after that maths and science class you can have the PT class or the physical fitness class. So your daily schedule needs to be planned in such a way there is an alternative of an active and passive activities that are happening. You are giving them enough time to calm down after a whole lot of activities where maybe a lot of physical exercises has happened, or the child has been into a constructive 2 hours or 3 hours of learning certain concept. As you go into higher grade, then you need to have about 15 to 20 minutes during the day, towards the end of the day, as a calming down activity. So maybe it can be just an art class that is happening or a music class that is happening. Very, very important. This alternative of active and passive schedules, very important so that you are managing their behaviors. Creatively managing the crisis. There will be time when the student will need to take a break and calm down. Try something creative that also encourages him to wind down. One cute little calming down trick is to have a little bottle of bubbles that you can have kids blow when they feel angry. Now, this can be used for kindergartens, for primary block children, the bubble activity. Now, when you blow the bubbles, I think as adults also, many of us, I think you all will agree that at this age also we love to blow bubbles. Can do you all are there some participants today that they at this age also they love to blow bubbles? Can you please write down in the chat box if you love to blow the bubbles at this age also, or it was only when you all were small you used to love to blow bubbles? I'm sure there will be participants who love to blow bubbles even at this age. Okay, so you can have such activities of blowing bubbles which will automatically help the children to calm down. Another things that you can have as the problem solving wheel. So what can I do? So when there is a problem, okay, now these are certain strategies for anger management, or when to manage their temper tantrums, or when they are facing some problem, they don't know how to cope up with a problem. So you are helping them out with certain options to solve a problem or to calm down. So it's like a pinwheel. So when there is a problem, you, and definitely for this you will have to train a child. It is not that the child will do it by himself or herself. You will have to make him understand what this problem solving wheel is. So when I am angry, when I am frustrated, what will I do? I will walk away, or I will tell them to stop, or I will do some other activity, or I will do some paperwork activity, or if I have, been very harsh to the others in saying something, I will apologize. Or if I'm really, really very unhappy or upset, I will go and talk it out to my friend. So you are providing different options to a child, that what needs to be done when there is a problem or when the child is angry. If you are helping the child for anger management, he will not land up into challenging behaviors. Setting up a teaching table. So you can have the table where the teacher works with the child on one basis. Student will know where to find you, and always have the teachers complete the attention. Okay, so this teaching table actually caters to when the teacher is catering on one basis. So in a classroom or in an inclusive setup classroom, like most of our classrooms now are inclusive classrooms, because it is mandatory also, and according to the new education policy also, inclusion is mandatory. So in a classroom where it is an inclusive setup classroom, within a group there will be one or two children who need to be worked on one basis on a particular time of the day. So you have that table separate in a classroom. In that same classroom there is one more table laid where the teacher for some part of the day or for some particular activity is working on one basis. Other behavior management techniques, you can have a peace table. Peace table is also called as the calming down table or a calming down corner. So a peace table is a place for children to sit quietly and reflect on their behaviors or transregression. So, like, it's basically a calming down corner where in this corner or on this peace table, you are having certain fun loving activities, where the child is going to be by himself. Maybe he's just going to do some drawing and coloring. Maybe he's just going to play with some puzzles. But the expectations from the teacher is that he has to do it quietly. So ultimately, for children who are very, very hyperactive, or they are having too many challenging behaviors, they can sit on the space table or the calming down corner and do a particular activity quietly. Initially, the teacher may have to monitor, okay, but when the routine is set, when the consistency comes in, the child will be by himself and he will sit quietly and do some coloring. You can do have mindfulness activities, mindfulness worksheets over there, where automatically he is going to calm down. So other than the peace table or the coming down corner, you can have positive behavior notes. Such are the like you start giving positive notes, positive cards like this, okay, you are the superstar, you are you did your best, you are the best buddy in the classroom, you are a child with very good manners, very you have a positive attitude. So such small positive behavior cards or reward cards can be shared with the children in the classroom. Other than that, you need to have effective parent communication. When parents are actively involved in their children's education, everyone benefits. Very, very important. You need to have parents as your equal partners, because ultimately, you and me, like the child, the teacher, the parents are also working for the betterment of the children. You, as a facilitator, caretaker, or a teacher, are also working toward the benefit of the child. Now, if that triangle is not complete, the parent, teacher, and the child, if that triangle is not a proper closed triangle, we as facilitators are not going to achieve our goals. Okay, so that is why is Ronit so very happy in the school? Because there is effective parent teacher communication that is happening. Ronit's parents are effective, they are very, very equal partners in the development of Ronit. So that is why Ronit is also very, very happy in the classroom. What are the other techniques? So brain breaks, like as we did the brain break or the tongue twister activity, you can have so many different ways of brain break. So you can have a dice in a classroom, you just roll the dice, and as the dice rolls, whatever action is written on it, you so for a dice, what you can do is you can use a box, okay, use an old carton, cover it with a paper, on each side of that box, which is a dice, okay, write certain actions on it, like jump 5 times, flap your arms like a bird, spin like a circle. Like these, you can just have some brain breaks or use movement breaks written on that box, which is the dice for you. Roll the dice in the classroom, and the children are asked to do the actions as it comes on the dice. So this again is a very, very effective strategy to bring in the attention and to grab the attention of the whole class before you are going to explain some very, very important topic, or just before explaining an important, like you are going to explain a very important or a very difficult concept in a classroom. But you need all ears, all brains, all eyes together. So before doing that, just do an activity like this of using a brain break activity of using a dice. Different activities of DIY activity sticks. So pick a stick from a jar and get moving. Basically, when the kids are starting to drift, you say activity time and set the timer for 1 minute and draw an activity. Okay, so then you then do the activity until you finish or the timer goes off. So, like on these sticks, what you can do is uh, on these popsicle sticks, you just write down certain activities. Again, this is like a brain break activity or a movement break activity. So these sticks, like on the stick, you can write nod your head, stretch toward the sky, wag your tail, rub your belly, swing your arms. So basically, these are the strategies. Instead of just using, you bring saying these actions verbally, you are bringing some novelty to it. And these are very, very cost effective and easy to use strategies. So you are already having a jar full of these popsicle sticks, where on each stick some or the other action is written on it, and you are just using it in between, so that you are grabbing the attention of the children in the classroom. What are the different effective tips? So, as I mentioned, job monitors, very, very effective strategy. So, the job monitors can be for your books, for library books, cleanup monitor, paper monitor, absent work monitor, mailboxes, so many different things. This also, as job monitors, we have used this at our special school. At not use, we are being using this at our special school. So what happens in this? The children become more and more responsible. They lead towards less challenging behaviors, and ultimately the children in the classroom become your co-workers or the co-helpers also in the classroom, and they are becoming more and more independent. So job monitors, again, very, very effective. Especially you can give it to the children who are so called hyperactive children in the classroom, or overactive. Not necessarily that each and every child who is moving around in the classroom is hyperactive. Maybe that child is overactive. There is a difference between overactive and hyperactive children. So to bring down those hyperactivity of the children, you can appoint them as job monitors. You can give them wacky stacks, grab some dough play, balloons to squeeze when the children are anxious. So you can just have Play-Doh in the classroom. You can have squeezy balls or balloons in the classroom. Just if you know there are certain children, they may have sensory issues. Like in a mixed ability, in a neurotypical classroom also, there may be children who are having sensory issues. So for bring them down of their sensory issues, you can have squeezy balls or Play-Doh in the classroom, so that it brings down their anxiety levels. Like the calming down or the peace corner, you can have calming down jars. Like these jars are like, it's a very simple way to prepare these calming down jars. You need to take a transparent bottle, a plastic transparent bottle of good quality, have add it with water, when I fill it with water, add little transparent glue to it, and you add glitter to it. So when you shake the jar, okay, what happens? The glitter also is move, and it just gets moving in the jar. And when you keep the jar on the table, what happens is the glitter settles down. As the glitter is settling down, these children, when they're seeing that glitter settling down, it calms down. This calming down jars, they have a lot of psychological effect on children, especially who are hyperactive or with severe challenging behaviors. It helps them to calm down their anxiety levels or the hyperactivity. Again, very, very effective. I'm sorry I don't have these calming jars over here, but we have a lot of calming jars in our classrooms. Each and every classroom at our school, at Sunderji's Global Academia, each and every classroom we have a set of about 6 to 7 calming jars. And these calming jars are in different with different variation. It may be with water, with glitter, with rice, colored rice in it. There are different ways that we can have make these calming jars. You can make the squishy marble maze. So a squishy marble maze, you can just, so it's like a Ziploc bag, and you have gel in it. Along with the gel, you have glitter and marbles in it. So you are, making the child to move the marble in that squishy marble maze, in that Ziploc bag. When the child is moving that marble, it is going to help him to calm down. Very, very effective strategies, and they are scientifically proven, and they have, they help a child to calm down very well. Apart from this, you can have a coloring book or a practice handwriting book. All these things can be in that calming down corner. So have kids color a book or practice, handwriting in various books using crayons, sketch pens, or various other mediums. There are books for mindfulness also, very, very effective. So mindfulness is one particular strategy to calm down these children, okay, where the anxiety issues or challenging behaviors are there. So when they get engaged into the coloring activity, they are automatically calming down. Apart from that, you are keeping them engaged in a constructive way. It for children who finish their reading and writing very fast in a classroom, you need to keep them engaged constructively. If you are going to keep them engaged constructively, they are not going to become the troublemakers in the classroom. Other things or other accommodation that you can have in a classroom is, you can have a cushion, a stability cushion or a spiky cushion in the classroom. Now, my dear friends, I would like to say that we may come up with opinion that it is very difficult to have so many accommodations in a classroom, because the rules or regulations or the uh, certain schools or the management that follows is different. Yes, at times it is very difficult to invest into so many aids also in a classroom. But as and when required, and as the need of the hour or the severity of, the type of a classroom that we are dealing it, we need to have these accommodations in the classroom, because all the classrooms nowadays are a mixed ability classroom. They are not typical classrooms where most of the children are good in their reading, writing skills, and they don't have challenging behaviors. We have classrooms in an inclusive setup school, in a normal neurotypical classroom also, we have children with various learning challenges. There are about 8 to 10 percentage of children who are having learning challenges. So for them, when we have these type of accommodations in a classroom, ultimately it's going to help the whole classroom at large. So you can have these spiky cushions in a classroom. You can group the kids according to the activity that you're going to take in, or you can have the grouping, a mixed kind of a grouping in the classroom. Now for each and every activity, grouping may not be possible, but in a large classroom of about 30 and 40, when you're going to do a particular kind of activity related to art and craft or drawing or an explorative play, always divide them into groups and have those groups as mixed groups, where two children are very good in their activity, two children maybe, they need some time or they need some guidance, and there are two, who actually need a lot of help. So when you are going to have mixed kind of grouping, each and every child is going to help each other. Ultimately, you are again improving onto their sense of responsibility, and they will grow up as better citizens. So grouping is one strategy. um, Another strategy, like if you have a table, okay, then those tables you can have color codes on that table, or you are indirectly dividing the table between 2 or 4 children. So when you are using this strategy, they know there is a boundary setting for their own space, that okay, this space with a green mark is my space where I have to work onto it. So use colors to call the kids over. For instance, the students with yellow sticker may line up. So apart from doing the activity also, you have the color coding system in the classroom, where you want, the children to line up part by part. So all the children who are with the yellow sticker on their table, they need to line up first. Like as one of the participants mentioned, that the boys go in line up first for the washroom break, and then the girls. Similarly, you can have color coding system for lining up activities. Partner spinning, spin the wheel and find your partner for the next activity. So different ways, to bring in the partners, to bring in the buddy system, so that each and every child is going to help the other child. So spin a partner, one wonderful active strategy, to get the partners in, and then learn to gel with each other. Otherwise, what happens? They will be always with their own best buddies or partners or friends. They are unable to gel well with the other child in the classroom. So, to have a very healthy environment in the classroom, you can use this strategy of partner spinning. Popsicle sticks, I have already explained about the popsicle sticks. Colored bracelets, very nice strategy. You can use these colored bracelets and have the child to pick up. Place the students with the same color in the group. Again, this is for grouping. Okay, you want the whole class to be grouped, in a group of 5 or 4 or 3, and that group you want to be a mixed group. Use this strategy of colored bracelets. Last but the most effective tip of classroom management: show the kids you love them. If they know that you love them, they want to be good for you. Try to find a moment each day to connect with the child. Very, very important. You cannot go into that system of just talk and chalk method and just doing the ratto mari. Okay, today I'm going to teach you the science chapter. Open to the page number 46. Today I'm going to talk about photosynthesis, blah, 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 blah. And you're just moving out of the classroom. Children, do this homework. You will write down on the blackboard. Write question number 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're just walking out of the classroom. This cannot happen. If you want children really to connect to you, and you to connect to the children, and if you really as facilitators want results from your children, it's not only keeping academics in mind or just keeping the marks or scores in mind, but for the overall holistic development of the child. Most important is connecting to the children. As I started my today's activity, when I started my today's presentation, I wanted to bring in that connection. Yes, keeping the online mode, it is a little difficult. Yes, but to bring in the connection. How did I start? I know in this group there are friends their name starts with A. What do you love to eat? So that is how few participants wrote that, oh, I love to eat pizza. I love to eat ice cream. Okay, there are few participants whose name starts with S. Do you all love to dance and sing? So there were some reviews that we love to dance and sing, right? So that is how you need to bring in the connection. So very, very important. Apart from just the teaching learning process, you need to connect with the children. A pat on the back, lovely. Didn't I say to that man? Lovely man for saying that transition song. Give a pat on your back. In an ideal situation, in a classroom environment where we are in an offline mode, we go around, we just give a pat on the back, pat on the head. Wow, good job. Just giving a high five, and that brings in the connection. So that brings to the end of my today's presentation. Thank you for being